in Michigan. Your question for Mr. Weiskopf.
Well, hello, Peter. Hi, Tom.
Hello,
How are
Dale.
you tonight?
Doing great.
I grew up watching Tom Weiskopf play in the CBS Golf Classic with Bert Yancey. And the first time I saw Tom play live was in a practice round at the PGA up to 72 at Oakland Hills. And he played with Bert Yancey, Arnold Palmer, and Jack Nicklaus. And I was wondering if Tom could comment about his friendship over the years with Bert Yancey.
Very easy. We all need friends on the tour when you're out there, and you always need help. Bert was both. We traveled together, our families. He was a great friend, a great swinger, and a wonderful teacher. And my best year in '73, going back to that, I always had trouble with my putting. I just would get out of rhythm and sink. And Bert said, I've got a system for you. And I implemented it the week of Colonial. And I stuck with it. Made a drastic change, but I stuck with it because I had trust in him. And then unfortunately, we lost him. He dropped dead right in front of me on the practice tee up there at the Franklin Quest in Utah. And how I won that tournament, I'll never know, but you know, it's probably because the golfing gods, you know, wanted that to be. But terrific, wonderful statesman for the game, perfect gentleman, Bert Yancey, and a great teacher. Had some wonderful years with his golf school and helped many, many people.
What does it say about you that there were moments when you would play your best golf that weren't coming from necessarily inside of you, but were prompted by things that happened in your life? Your dad's passing, and you have the great year. Bert Yancey dies, you win the golf tournament. Your wife Jean gets cancer, you win the '95 U.S. Open. What do you think that says about you and your insides?
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough one. I've thought about that one. Maybe I haven't figured that one out, to be honest with you, Peter. I guess, you know, you need to be motivated in the game. You know, you need a reason to like what you do, to want to go out there, and your hands get sore and you're frustrated, and you need help. And maybe that was my help, is those unfortunate things that we're talking about, you know, that they just make you up and make you aware of what you really have and what you need to do and the people that believed in you. So gee whiz, you know, forget about acting maybe a little bit childish or being frustrated and not accepting your position. And, you know, it's just like you see somebody walking down the street that might be blind, and wow, you see people like that all the time, but maybe it just hits you at that moment. So maybe it just woke me up at times, I don't know.
When Arnold Palmer lost to Billy Casper Olympic in '66, he helped Billy win that title. When Tony Jacklin didn't win at Muirfield in '72, he helped Lee Trevino to that title. And both of them have acknowledged on some level that that affected them greatly going forward. But you've said that Augusta in '75, when you and Johnny Miller finished a shot back of Jack, both missing birdie putts to tie on 18, that in some ways that was the end of you. But if you look at the golf tournament, except for the exception of the 16th hole where Jack makes the long birdie putt, which obviously sent a shock through your system and you subsequently bogeyed, it wasn't as though you had handed him that golf tournament. Why should that be the end?
Well, if it was, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I know myself better than anybody, right? So I'm standing on the 16th tee. I've got a one-stroke lead. And Jack is down there 45 feet from the hole, 50 feet, whatever it is, and he makes this putt, and I said, my God, he's done it to me again, you know. So what happened there is I broke my concentration, and I would let things, you know, interact a lot of times. I had these demons, I guess, going on. Maybe I was looking for excuses at times, too. And I got up there, Peter, and I knew it was a 6-iron, and even though I was a power player, I was still a bit of a finesse player, but it was a darn hard 6-iron. And I had indecision. I said, do you think it's a 5, Tom? Should I hit a light 5? I said, nope. and I'm going with the hard 6, and I hit it fat. So I had indecision. It just got in my swing, and I didn't make a good swing. And I put the ball in the front of the green. I 3-putted. So that's why I say, you know, it affected me. Now, I had an equal opportunity at 17. No one ever saw that one, but I had one about 12 feet straight up the hill and left it short. And it broke, and it took the break. You know, it was a tough putt, even though it was uphill. And again, these things, I couldn't get them out of my mind, Peter. So I went to 18. I hit this beautiful drive and a wonderful iron in there, and I had this great putt. Couldn't ask for almost a better putt to have. And I knew it broke a little left, and I said, my mind went back to 17. Make sure that you hit it firm on the high side. Don't hit it, Tom. So again, it's this indecision that I fought with myself all the time. And I don't know whether I was maybe too versatile a player and I just would maybe get too fancy at times, and it just ate me up because I was playing pretty well. And great shot that he made, no doubt about it. But really, his putt affected me on that tee shot.
I believe you, and we will take a short break, and we will be right back. Don't go away. My friend.
Great, Peter. Thank you.
Pleasure.
First-time caller, and I really enjoy your show.
Thanks.
It's a privilege to talk to Tom. I want to say that thousands of golf fans miss him swinging the golf club, and I'm surely one of them. I have two questions. First of all, as far as Tom as a golf course designer, we have a club here in Columbus area called Double Eagle that Tom designed. The rumor we hear around these parts is that's probably one, if not his best design. Like his comment on that. And secondly, when he was a collegiate player at OSU, they played a course called Scarlet. And I, too, attended OSU, and I always heard a story that the 16th hole at OSU is almost a horseshoe-shaped hole. It's about 365 yards from the tips. And you can cut a tremendous amount off that hole if you fly over a chasm, over some trees to the green. The story we always heard is that Tom would play that hole by flying those trees and flying the gorge, risking out of bounds and all that. I was wondering if that was a true story, and thanks for your attention.
Well, Steve, let's talk about the 16th hole. Great golf course. That's where I learned how to play. Alistair McKenzie design. When I was back in the school, I had a lot more hair, and those trees are only about 3 feet tall. I went at that green many times. Never successfully ever found my ball on the green. I was in the chasm. I was out of bounds more than I was ever in play. So I learned very quickly, you know, let's play it out to the right layup with a 3-wood and pitch at it. The other, you know, Double Eagle has turned out reputation-wise, and because of the great ownership there, John McConnell, to be, you know, one of the more prominent courses and projects I've ever been involved in. I will say that, you know, Jay Morrish at that time was my partner, so it wasn't just my effort. It was a lot of people's efforts, but it is considered, they say, at least maybe the finest conditioned bent grass course in the United States. You know, it's ranked very high, but it's quite a place. I'm very proud of it.
McKenzie, of course, responsible for Cypress Point and Augusta National and Royal Melbourne, where they'll play the President's Cup next month. How big an influence were he and Tillinghast, who, of course, did Winged Foot and Quaker Ridge and Baltusrol? How did you use their work to shape your philosophy?
Well, Peter, I guess it goes back to playing at the Ohio State University Golf Course. I was curious, read a lot about McKenzie, why he did things the way he did, and gee whiz, a big game next week in Ohio State, Michigan, and he also did the University of Michigan's course, too. Wonderful golf course. But he had a flair. he had a mystery in his courses. There was a charm about him that was very misleading. To me, he gave a very false sense of security. He was a camouflage expert in the war. His bunker style was almost unprecedented, and his greens were pretty much radical. I mean, they had a lot of contour. Luckily, they didn't mow them at the speeds that we can mow them at today. Tillinghast, very similar, I think, but a little bit more conservative, but the bunker style, again, to me, bunkers are things that frame the golf hole. They should reward the player at least by giving them a line for definition. Strategically, they should challenge the player, and they should also help the player from keeping a player from maybe going into a worse position, So the bunker style and the green designs that those two gentlemen that you mentioned, Tillinghast and McKenzie, are just things that I think are almost necessary as part of the game.
Now, McKenzie would frequently give you the option of running the ball up to the hole, and Tillinghast almost never did. Which philosophy is more comfortable for you as a designer?
Oh, I think you have to have a margin for error. So I support the hazards to the sides, allowing the straight shot for the most part not to be penalized, unless you're playing a shortish type shot, either on a very short 3 or a reachable 5, something like that. So, Tillinghast would flash his bunkers up very high in front of the green. And over the years, too, with the people playing bunker shots out, they even got higher. So he would conceal from the fairway some parts of the greens, too. So maybe in appearance, I think, yes, he maybe shut it off a little bit more than McKenzie. But as they grew up and this flashing took place and just his style, and sometimes he'd drop it down and you'd have this little view through parts of the bunker, too. So he'd give you a view of the green. So maybe it wasn't quite as much directly in front as maybe you think it is, Peter.
Do you think you could have been happy if, in college, instead of having already discovered your physical gift for the game, that you had taken architecture courses?
What I know now, what I've learned, and what I love to do, I mean, I didn't know what I really wanted to do other than to be a golfer, but I wish I would have finished school for sure, and I wish I would have had the opportunity to have gone to the architectural school, gotten a landscape architectural degree, and finished my education. I would recommend that to any young player out there that's thinking about, quitting school and going on the PGA Tour. Trust me, those guys are very good at what they do. Stay in school for a while, learn how to play a little bit better.
Could you have been happy not having been a professional golfer and having been a golf course designer?
Absolutely, without question, without question.
Does the golf course design cater to most of your strengths and almost none of your weaknesses?
Well, I hope I'm good enough where it doesn't favor any style of game. It should favor the right type of game, the marginal shot. I don't know, I try to put things in my course that things that scared me as a player, that I didn't feel comfortable in playing certain types of shots because I knew it didn't scare some of the other players, so. What's good for one might be not as good for the other.
Take a very short break, and we will be right back, and we'll see a little selected course list of some of the great courses that Tom has designed. Chance to email a question to our guest, and the question for Tom Weiskopf tonight is, Mr. Weiskopf, your critics describe you as impatient towards some other players and fans. How do you respond to this view, and what are the responsibilities of a golf pro as a role model and ambassador of the game? Thanks for your question, Stephen J.
Can't disagree, with the first part. Yes, I was impatient with myself. Maybe some of my fans said some things I regretted, did some things I regretted. It was all spontaneous, it was not planned, and it was directed personally against myself, my feelings against myself. It was not against the golf course, it was not against, people in general. And I was just moody. I was immature. I hopefully have grown up. But golfers do have and do an excellent job, I think, as role models. I think we can all be very proud of the people that represent our sport, Peter. These young men definitely have a responsibility to act like gentlemen. Corporate America has never been more involved in the game, and the game is growing. And it's much more visible all around the world. So, you know, it's very important to take the good with the bad, you know? You can't change yesterday. Tomorrow is a mystery. And live for today. Do the best you can.
Let's see what Paul in Georgia wants to ask you. Go ahead, Paul.
Peter, good evening, Tom.
Good evening, Paul.
I just wanted to thank you for your Truant Golf and Country Club in Arizona. It's a great golf course. My question is concerning what is the biggest misconception about you that we hear through the media?
Oh, I don't know. You know, I guess some of my friends sometime would pick up the newspaper and call me, you know, and say, who's this guy they're writing about? I don't know. You know, we're all a cast of characters. The media can be your best friend, or it can be very difficult on us. And, oh, I don't know. I think basically, you know, the media and I got along real well. In fact, they always said I was good copy because I tried to be as upfront and as honest as I possibly could. So I don't know. You know, I just, I wore my emotions pretty much on my shoulder, you know? Kind of like Craig Stadler. You ever seen him? You know exactly how he feels.
But when there was something, but there was a difference in the way that the two of you did it. Somehow, we giggled when we watched Stadler.
Right. He's a sketch.
And sometimes we would giggle with you, but sometimes we'd really feel your pain too.
No, I had tremendous support, you know, from fans. But maybe, boy, I don't know. You know, I had this enormous talent, and I had a pretty good career. If I look back at it, being fair, you know. But I'm sure I disappointed a lot of people, and but I apologize. You know, that was me. Like I said, I can't change that. You know, I can only go on today and do the best I can, and the future's a mystery. So I don't think you're going to see so many things if I play again, Peter, that will disappoint you.
When we come back from this short break, we will take a look at the 1995 U.S. Senior Open, where nobody was disappointed by you. We'll do that in just a moment. Don't go away.
To have played the way I did proved a lot to me because, I don't know, I've been under a lot of stress the last 6 months with my wife's cancer surgery last fall, and we've gotten through that. And maybe she's the one that I dedicated this tournament to. I told her this morning. She gave me the courage to stay in there and play. There she is, Jeannie Weiskopf.
At the break, what did you tell me? Tell me again.
Well, 2 times. I can honestly say I knew I was going to win before the first shot was hit that week. And the first time was Royal Troon. I was so prepared. I was even more prepared, Peter, at Congressional. I was, that's the best I ever hit the golf ball in my career. The best.
Now, does that tournament at the time, did that mean closure for you? Okay, now I've got my big USGA title, but now it's 3.5 years later. Can't that be used as an impetus to say, you know what, that was really fun, I'm going to go play some more golf? Are you going to play some more golf?
Well, I answer your question very simply. I have been thinking seriously about entertaining the thought of possibly playing some golf next year on the senior tour. I will know the answer to that question on January the 1st. It's always the day I make up my mind.
Okay, which way is this thing leaning right now, and what's the obstacle?
Why don't you call me January 1st, Peter?
Why don't you come back and do the show with us sometime early in the year, and you can tell us which events you're going to play.
All right, I will. You got it.
How's Jeannie doing?
Good. Fine.
And tell me what kind of a dad you are now to your kids.
Well, my daughter just got married to a wonderful guy, and very proud of her. Quite a girl. My son is working for Larry Rogers, who's in the irrigation business, you know, and he enjoys his work, and if I come back to play, I guess he'll caddy for me a little bit.
You started the show really, the first person that we talked about after your dad was Jack. Share with us quickly the two stories, the 73 Ryder Cup story and the ball coming in and out of the hole story.
Well, the first story is we're playing Eddie Powell and Eamon Darcy. They're so excited to play us. I'm the current Open champion. He's won the U.S. Open, the Masters, or whatever, you know. And they come up and they said, you know, we're so excited to be able to watch you guys play golf today. And I'm thinking to myself, gee whiz, you know, these guys should be a little more intense than this. This is pretty serious business. And Jack said to Barbara, you know, Barbara, I know it's pretty cold. Why don't you meet us out there at 11, and that'll be about the end of today, you know? And I said, geez, Jack, you know, don't say stuff like that. Those guys can hear that, you know. Anyway, he hits his shot up there. We're playing, you know, best ball. And we're 7 up, you know, playing the 11th hole, and I hit it in there about 8 feet, and he hit it in there about 10 feet on the same line. He said, rack your cue. I said, what do you mean? He said, pick your coin up. I said, I can't do that. He said, I'm not going to miss. I said, what if you miss this? He said, I'm not going to miss this putt. I won't miss it, I'm telling you. So I did the best I could to make it look like a loose impediment. You know, I removed this penny and put it in my pocket, you know, and he got up there and in the hole, and that was it, you know, just as he predicted. The next day, we're playing alternate shot, and he hits this putt. He asked me to read the putt, and I said, I think it breaks a little bit to the right. I couldn't believe he even asked. He never asked anybody what to do, you know. He said, well, that's what I thought. Of course, that's the obvious answer, you know, from Karnak. And anyway, he hits this putt. You know, Peter, I'm standing on the side. I can still see the ball turning over like this because he always marked it with the letters on the side, so it looked like a spoke. And it's rolling perfectly, goes down in the hole. This big groan comes up. This ball reappears, you know. And he's standing there looking at it. I walked over and I said, Pardsy, I can't believe that ball didn't go in the hole. He says, I made it, T. It just didn't go in. So that tells you how he thinks.
Well, I'm going to call you on January 1st to find out what you're thinking so we can watch you play some more golf next year. Thank you so much for being here.
That'd be nice. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We'll see you very soon right here on Golf Talk Live. Good night, everybody.